Hello one and all, this is Hybridsteel. Thank you very much for joining me in today's Hydroneer video. Today's a little bit different. Today we're revisiting an older version of this game. This is version 0.8.0. If you guys want a copy of this game, I will show you where you can get it now. Basically, go and buy Hydroneer if you want the original. Click into its properties, click on betas, and click on early development version 0.8.0, and then you'll be on this wondrous piece of technology that we all call Hydroneer. Now, okay, the downside is that this is 0.8.0, a version of the game that never really came to light. And the reason why is because, well, it's an early build. It wasn't around for very long, and it was just used as a way of sort of moving on with the game and making it better, and you know, going that extra mile for the community to make a game that was worth remembering. And in all fairness, that's what I'm looking at today. So a couple of things are a little bit different than what they used to be. Well, what they are now. The little green circle doesn't appear when you put a bucket over, you know, your pan. You got to watch out for explosion rates because they do pop. And yeah, we're now going to go to the exchange and I'm going to show you the map. So we started on the training lot. As you can see, this place hasn't really changed. I mean, a few little nooks and crannies are a little bit different, but apart from that, there is a log at the end of this road where we cannot move any further. And the reason why we cannot go any further is because the entire map is completely different to what it used to be like. Well, for what we know now. As you can see, the roads are a lot more narrow, so you wouldn't be able to get a truck down here. And back in 0.8.0, there was not a truck. There was a wheelbarrow. There you go. For all the people out there that complain that we wanted a wheelbarrow, there's a wheelbarrow. The reason why it's not in the game anymore is because, well, it's not in the game anymore. You got a tractor, be happy. But I can understand where people want a wheelbarrow instead of a pallet or a tractor. It doesn't use any fuel, you do short journeys, so on and so forth. So this is the original Jewelers. As you can see, we're selling in 32 quid. £32 for that giant nugget of gold and a few other bits and pieces, and it has no money. Reason why is because if you look in the top right hand corner now, that's where my money is. There was no money, it was literally just digital currency. Almost like today's currency of like cashless payments. Statue is still in the middle, which is all cool, but this place never really changed. The only thing that changes is the markets. Like, this isn't even explaining of what they used to be like. So apart from that, the entire world is just completely different to what we all know and love. And the reason what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a bed with me, because lights in this game are a bit pants. There's no menu for me to mess around with, and I can't put mods in because, well, mod support for 0.8.0 was pretty much non-existent, so there was no point. Alright, so literally it's daytime. Best time to go, apart from I'm going to say it's about 1 o'clock. So if we go for a nap, and then we double click on the bed, which is something I really miss. I really miss the fact that I could double click on a bed. So we're going to go for a wander. And the reason why we're going to go for a wander is we're going to go and explore the land. Something that hasn't been done since January. Because this is when this version of the game came out, it was January when this came out. So the first big thing was the fact we had a wagon. Basically, you ran around with a wagon attached to you, and you'd put stuff on the wagon and all good. It's not a tractor. Do you know how long it takes to get around this map without a frickin' tractor? It takes a long time now. So this is the original shop that we all know and love now. So you got your pans, you got your pots and everything else. And literally this is the entire game. There's no over-the-top automation. There was no huge amounts of drills to be had. This game was not designed as it is today, where we can put lots of drills and lots of this and work out all our water pressure and everything. This was literally the entire water process. This was it. And this, what you see in front of you, the dirt harvester and the straight conveyor, are literally the only parts of automation in this game. The patch notes in this game do say that there is a ram drill. The ram drills weren't implemented at this point. So in January, there was no ram drills. As you can see, I mean, there is a cave. Artifacts were a thing. Opening the cave was still part of the game. As we walk down this part, we go to the left, and there is no shop. There's no shopping district. All this hadn't been built yet. This is the first lot that you come to after you've finished at the training lot. This lot will cost you £200. So not a massive amount of money, but look how much space you get for that much money, and your own water supply right next to it as well. Basically a larger version of the original training plot that we all use to this day. But that's a little bit bigger and a little bit better. Well, I'm going to carry on taking my bed with me. So another thing you're definitely going to realise is that you can't place this bed anywhere, much like the original, but you can put it down and sleep on it, which is something I actually cared for, but unfortunately it was taken away because people kept messing around with the system. So up until this point now, where we are now, this is ocean, next to the graveyard, next to the tower. This is a sea. So all of this land this was all the original land for the game. And as you go through this area, this is where you would have normally been digging. This is how the game would have evolved you to get you to the next plot, to get you to the next area. Some of the lots are the same, some of them really aren't. And we're going to go down this one first because, as you can see, we've come to another lot. A slightly larger landmass, a raised area of water next to the sea. And this is obviously before we would get to Bridgeport, but in a place that we would know it from later on. This plot of land was £450. Oh, and I've got to be honest, it actually isn't that hard to earn money in this version, which is something I actually like. You can earn a ton more money by doing less. Alright, so we're going to come to our first shop, housing, where we can buy beds and wooden walls. Do you remember Dre's video where they had like wooden walls that were red? There we go, this is what it used to look like. Obviously the concrete blocks were here. The downside to the concrete blocks was you could do this. So if you didn't hammer down all your items, you could move them around by just walking into them. And I'm going to be honest, going by some of the early videos that I've seen through Max and the way that other people have put this out before this, it was hard to keep this game working when it was pretty much laggy. So this would be Bridgeport, but Bridgeport is in a completely different area now. So we've got our first automated, well, our first shard sort of store, where the original backpack was here, and the original mag rifle was here, and the original pickaxe rifle. Now, in fairness, the pickaxe rifle was pretty useless, and it was one of those things that you sat there and just went, why am I doing this? It took ages and ages and ages to move any dirt, and then it took ages and ages and ages to do anything. And I'm sort of glad, in fairness, Max sort of changed this out. He took away this, turned this into a magic wand, made it a little bit more sort of, medieval style, which I thought was pretty cool. Took away this, which was a good thing because this took so long to do anything with. And this, if you sort of look at this in sort of more modern day terms, this is more like the David now, where you put a shard into the pack, hook it up with some water, and then that works. But this used to put a shard on your back, you used to wear this on your back, and then you used to use the mag rifle and the pickaxe rifle, and they would almost attach, so these would work off the power of the shard that you would carry around. The downside is that the only time you ever knew when it would stop working is when literally it stopped working. Okay, so we're going to go into this building now. You may recognise this from the area that we all know as the first area of the exchange, next to the tool shop, down the left, off from the cave, and there's a big shop. This is that shop. It's the same building, it's the same thing, and it's the same exchange. It's just in a different place. And I can see why he moved this around, because in all fairness, this is in the wrong place. It has to be near the beginning because people were just about to start smelting the big, the big bars of gold from the original plot. As you can see, this is the big plot of land, the one that I tend to do a lot of builds on, but this is in a different place now because it's behind the giant castle on the hill from the original plot. And this will cost you £1,200. So that jump from a £450 lot to a £1,200 lot was like the big thing. This was like, I think if I was doing videos from this build, that's where I'd be doing them all. But there is another area where this game does open up, and that area I wish that he would have done something like it. And I think after talking to Max about this build and him going down memory lane of how this game used to be, I genuinely think that I think there was a little twinkle in his eye about trying to maybe do something else with this game. And I'll go up to this area now and I'll show you what I mean. Well, there is an area that we've never seen before. So, First off, the Dwarven or the Viking statues. Love this feature. This is so cool. I wish this was still in the game. As somebody who's played this game extensively for, well, since May. So we're going up into the mountain now. As you can see, the landscape is slowly changing with this sort of like whitiness all over the land, and it's slowly turning to snow. And we also get this really cool mist effect as we're going up into the mountain. So the snow's come in, there's new plants around, there's all this new stuff that's sort of just laying around. And if we go up this little hill on the left-hand side, you see the little camp? This was out by the exchange, just off from the tester area, just off from the new area. There's this camp, and it overlooks a frozen lake. This is cool. I like this. It gives you a sense of what he was sort of thinking when he first put this game together. Now the thing is, what I'm probably going to get is, oh, you're shilling out for this game. You're paid to do. I'm not paid anything to admire this. I'm not paid anything to say anything positive about this. Genuinely, from a gamer point of view, who's enjoyed this game since he bought it, this just opens up like loads of fresh ideas that the game could go down to actually make this game more inclusive for a bigger community. So here we are, another jeweller's at the top of the mountain, which means there are plots up here that we can actually work on. And this is what I wanted to show you guys. After speaking to Max about like what was the plan up here, he said that he was going to go through sort of like almost like a dwarven empire area where you would have the Norse sort of like dwarven section up here, and this would be their main home where you would go inside and you'd see the exchanges and all the stuff up here, and basically just have this area where you could explore a bit more and be a bit more sort of almost like landfill inclusive of the game. So we've got another housing store up here, which is pretty cool, and then we've got the big parts. Now, big parts are literally never been added to this version of the game. This, I'm going to assume, is where we would have bought things like ram drills, Goliaths, bigger parts for the game as we know it now, and they would have just been shoved into here. This is obviously the automated section for up here, so you've got your shovels, your bits and pieces, and your piping, and just literally the harvester. If you can tell, I mean, from this point on, there's no other automation up here apart from that harvester, which means if you want the conveyor belts, you literally have to go down the other end of the map. Now, because it's getting dark, I literally have to sleep, because this game has no skip night phase. I miss double tapping the button to get out of sleep mode and going into daytime. So, this would have been sort of the end section of the game, as we know it. Like, if you play the game now, you get to the 6,600, credit lot, you get yourself up there, you get yourself sorted, and you're basically at the end of the game, unless you want to go down the route of, like, building Cloutium stuff. And this would have been the last lot that you would have bought. This is the last plot of land, top of a mountain, on a snowy, open plain, next to a water source, and it would have cost you £1,400. £1,400 to have this as a plot of land. And going by what I've been told, this is really deep. Like, it's almost deeper than the bigger plot of land that we have in Hydroneer now. And to have this as your landscape as you were digging would have been pretty damn cool. And I think talking to him, he wants to try. I think he was thinking of maybe expanding this out again, maybe bringing in a new map, maybe making us all have to start again so we can explore places like this. We can only hope maybe at some point something like this will come along. But at the end of the day, it needs people like you, the ones who are watching this, the ones who are first discovering this game, or the people who have been playing this game for so long but still didn't even know that this section of the game existed. For all of you people out there, hit me down in the comments section below and let me know what you think of this tour. This is the game before I knew it. This is the game before most of you knew this game existed. And there are so many good ideas in this that it's a little bit wasted, where you had this much potential to expand the universe of the game. But unfortunately, it gets to a point where we are is what we have created. The community behind Hydroneer, the ones who basically sat here and said, I'd love for this to be in the game. Can this be in the game? Can that be in the game? I think we all forgot that we basically shape the game as it is. We put through our ideas get turned into physical things, and physical things get put into the game. But none of us, I don't think any of us, have ever asked for a snow mountained area or a new plot of land or something that can be expanded upon like this. I know this looks a little bit barren and a wasteland, but if you think about the potential that this had, whereas we didn't do nothing about it, we just kept requesting stuff that would make our lots look cool, when we could have had something like this, where we would have had a new area, a new terrain, maybe even new sections of the game later on that we don't know exist now. But without seeing the early build, 0.8.0, I don't think the ideas would have flown as well as they do now. And I think what we need to do is we need to reevaluate how we look at Hydroneer, or even any game in the future. And instead of requesting the stuff that makes our lives easier, maybe request something that makes the game look better and bigger for the whole community to enjoy. That's what I'm taking from this early build. To be able to look at this and go, there was actually some really good ideas here. And actually speaking to Max sort of gave me a little insight to what he was thinking a lot more when it came to actually doing something like this. Even coming down to the textures of the buildings and having this almost like Dwarven Norse version of like a village. And it looks pretty cool. This transition between here and what we know as Hydroneer now showed that the game had a lot of potential. And maybe instead of us sort of like thinking, oh, we just need this to make the game better, maybe this is what we needed. Something a little bit more that was more of an inclusive area and a little bit more, I don't know, almost human in a way. But I digress. If you guys have enjoyed this video, if you think having an area like this in the game would be a cool idea, let me know down in the comment section below. I actually relayed quite a lot of my stuff over to Max for future referencing. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, don't forget you can hit the like, subscribe and notification button below for all other updates. And it'd be nice to have you all here for another video. But if this is giving you some sort of insight as to what this game was originally like, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So thank you very much for popping along. It means the most to me. Peace out, have fun, and enjoy everything you guys do. Bye-bye for now.